Do you want to win an Xbox One? Enter our 100,000 subscriber giveaway. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. After a long and arduous training camp, most fighters would likely prefer to skip over all the mandatory media commitments and simply get down to business. However, given that MMA is an entertainment product at its core, the job does require you to show up, look your opponent dead in the eyes, answer questions, and play your role in attempting to make your fight a financial success. And while some clearly hate this aspect of their profession, some others choose to make the most of it. Either way, it's not uncommon for things to take a rather bizarre turn in the hours that lead up to a fight. Whether it's the moments of hilarity, insanity, or noticeable tension, the weigh-ins are always a must-see when it comes to the biggest UFC events. With that in mind, here's our list of the 10 funniest UFC weigh-in moments. Number 10. Silva versus Weidman. The original battle between the longtime middleweight champion Anderson Silva and the powerful rising contender Chris Weidman was seen by many as the greatest test of the champ's legendary reign. Weidman, in people's eyes, represented a new breed of fighters, one that brought the wrestling chops and overall athleticism necessary to truly push this spider to his limits. The night before the fight, the tension was palpable, and in one memorable moment during the pair's face-off, they came so close to kissing that the entire debacle resembled something closer to a competitive game of chicken than anything else. In the end, Weidman would of course stun the world with a second round TKO of the champ, leaving him as the proud owner of one of the most important victories in MMA history.
Anderson, oh my, he got hit! Look at the finish it! It is all over! Chris Weidman!
Number 9. Sean O'Connell. Sean O'Connell is a man who never fails to disappoint when the time to make weight comes around. Though a gutsy slugger in the cage, when O'Connell's name is mentioned, it's hard not to immediately think of his hilarious habit of injecting a splash of comedy into the way these tense pre-fight final face-offs end up going. Having done everything from costumes to inventive props in the past, when the time came to take on his fellow contender Matt Van Buren, a simple pointed finger on the nose was all O'Connell needed to get the laugh out of the crowd. In the end, it proved to be a good omen for the light heavyweight as he earned himself a third-round knockout in a fight of the night winning effort. Number 8. Paige Van Zandt. Paige Van Zandt's run in the UFC might not have lived up to the lofty expectations that were attached to it, but all in all, her status as one of the biggest stars in the women's division saw her leave the promotion with quite a lot of hype behind her. Now signed to bare knuckle boxing promotion BKFC, Van Zandt's MMA career so far has in many ways defined her by determined approach inside the cage, as well as her undeniable likability outside of it. One viral moment saw her and top strawweight contender Michelle Waterson engage in a dance-off instead of the more traditional stare down that some might have expected. There were clearly no hard feelings about the fight that would follow 24 hours later, and for one brief moment, these two warriors decided to express themselves in a much less violent fashion.
That's when she is in her element. She has to do that in order to beat the karate hottie this weekend. Now look at these two young ladies having fun up there dancing.
Number 7. Mike Pierce. Anyone who has followed MMA since its golden era will know that Josh Koscheck wasn't everyone's cup of tea. The former TUF1 contestant managed to rub quite a few people up the wrong way as a result of his attitude, and though he split people down the middle, there was no doubt that he was still an elite contender in his heyday. However, when he signed to take on Mike Pierce at UFC 143, there was an added level of motivation as his opponent opted to don a wig that bore a striking resemblance to Koscheck's blonde mop top. It was a pretty hilarious stunt, all things considered, but in the end, it was the matted little Koscheck that would take home a comfortable decision victory. This win would in fact stand as the final victory of his career before a 6-fight skid ushered him into retirement. Number 6. Leonard Garcia. Leonard Garcia will forever hold a place in the heart of MMA fans everywhere, thanks to his electric fighting style and his involvement in one of the sport's greatest ever battles, his WEC Classic against Chan Sung-jung. And it was his rematch with the Korean Zombie Jung that earned him a spot on this list. Debuting in the UFC in a second outing against his great rival, Garcia came to the stage wearing a zombie costume in tribute to Jung, a move that was warmly received by his target. The following night, it was back to business, however, as the Korean Zombie managed to lock up and finish the first twister submission in UFC history to announce his arrival as an elite featherweight.
Now, he set up a twister, it looks like. He is! He's got a twister. Oh!
Final seconds of the round. Trying to
He's
get
got it.
It is
Number 5, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is a weird dude. There's no other way to put it. During the point in time where both he and the lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov were in a collision course, Tony seemed to be willing to take any opportunity he would find to rattle the cage of the Eagle. Though their rivalry was more based around competitive tension than anything else, as they spent more and more time together, true animosity began to bubble under the surface. In one memorable stare-down meeting, Ferguson broke a short silence with a sharp "woo," and something that even caught UFC President Dana White off guard. Khabib, as you would expect, remained completely and utterly icy throughout.
Woo! Woo! Good luck. Thank you.
Number 4, Jose Aldo. Though Conor McGregor well and truly dominated the mental warfare during the lead-up to his UFC 194 featherweight title clash with Jose Aldo, some thought that the Brazilian might have finally rattled the Irishman during the final face-off between the two. Mocking the karate stance of his adversary, Jose did manage to provoke a reaction out of McGregor through this brief power play, leading to the betting lines to shift ever so slightly at the last minute.
Finally, the wait is over.
Yes.
Jose taking a page out of Conor's book there. You know, Conor has played it quiet this week.
In the end, of course, it would matter little, as Conor would eventually record the fastest knockout in the UFC history championship bouts with a 13-second knockout to snatch the title.
Black trunks for the champion, Jose Aldo Jr. Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh no! Just slapped him!
Number 3, Joe Rogan. Maintaining a certain level of composure under the glare of the camera is often no easy feat, but in the case of Joe Rogan, one moment of weakness caused a rather embarrassing viral moment. During the peak of Ronda Rousey's time at the top of the sport, Rogan was caught checking out the bantamweight queens during a not-so-subtle effort to sneak a peek during her official weigh-in. As you would expect, the clip did the rounds through the MMA community, and in the time that followed, Rogan himself was forced to admit that he had well and truly been caught red-handed. Number 2, Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz isn't in the fight game to make friends, and if you just so happen to give him a reason to antagonize you, you can be damn sure he'll take it. Set to face Frank Shamrock for the Strikeforce Middleweight Championship, Diaz was instantly aggressive in his demeanor upon meeting with the MMA pioneer. When preparing to shake hands with Shamrock during the official press conference, the Stockton native quickly decided to flip the bird at his opponent instead, leading to an organic moment that gave all of those in attendance a good chuckle. They all thought it was funny, but one look at Nick's face will tell you it was not intended as a joke. Number 1, Johnny Hendricks. Johnny Hendricks' downfall was one of the more shocking declines we've seen in the sport of mixed martial arts in some time. Once seen as the greatest welterweight on the planet, Big Rig's tenacity, his motivation, and his punching power seemed to fade almost instantly, leaving him with a string of failed attempts to make the 170-pound limit. After deciding enough was enough, Hendrick decided to test the waters at 185, something that led to another botched weight cut at UFC 217, or so it would seem.
I didn't miss weight. I just misread the underwear. Okay? No negative.
In the end, Hendricks stood in front of the media explaining why his cut wasn't successful. While apologizing profusely for his shortcomings, he then took a step onto the scales and to his surprise, you guessed it, successfully made the middleweight limit. You just can't write this stuff.
Didn't quite understand.
185.8.
And he hits his mark. Okay, there you go. 185.8. So he throws us a curveball.
What UFC weigh-in moments made you laugh the most over the last few years? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below before subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. And as always, thank you for watching.
Anderson. Oh my, he got hit! Looking to finish it! It is all over! Chris Weidman!
That's when she is in her element. She has to do that in order to beat the karate hottie this weekend. Now look at these two young ladies having fun up there dancing.
Good luck. Thank you.